Hi, I'm Tom Olson from the Springfield Weather Forecast Office, and today I'm going to go over the Nimbus max-min temperature system. The Nimbus is a replacement for the MMTS-1 and -7. It does store up to 35 days. Its battery backup is a 9 volt. That will allow it to store or be on the backup mode for approximately 2 weeks. Okay, the first thing we're going to cover today is in observers' day-to-day operations with this. And every day the observer at the observation time should come in and click the recall button. And once you hold that down, you'll see it'll toggle between the max and the min, max and min. Then once you let it go, that's going to give you the at observation temperature. So once you've written down the data, the max, min, and at observation temperature, you'll come over and at the clear button, you'll hold that down for 5 to 6 seconds, and it'll be E2, E2. Once it goes E2, E2, it's clear. So you'll let it go, and now it's ready to start recording the max and min from this point on forward until you do a recall and check it again the next day. So once you've done that, like I said, you cleared it. It's in the next day. Let's say the next day has come around. You'll do again, hit the recall, max. Oops, slid on me here. Let's try again, max. And min, it's going to stay the same because I just cleared it and our temperature sensor hasn't changed, but you'll do that same thing. After you get those temperatures, push and hold down the clear button until it goes E2, E2. Does that now, it's reset again. So for those sites that may be gone, or let's say an observer's gone on vacation for a week or two, and they want to see record the temperatures when they were gone. So the memory feature will do that up to 35 days. And to do that, you click it to the on position. And once that's in the on, you'll see the recall button, and you'll toggle through. This will be from the first day. So from the last time you cleared it to observation time. So it'll give you the max, and then the time of the maximum, minimum, and the time of the minimum. So you'll continue that on and record each of these days. This day back would be 0.1, and since this doesn't have any data for that because I haven't cleared it, just continue on back, and like I said, it goes up to 35 days. So once you're done with that, if you don't turn the memory off, it'll just stay on your last reading there. So click over and you go back to your current temperature. Now to use that memory function, you got to make sure that the time inside is correct. So to do that, and normally the co-op, the Opal or DAPM should be doing this, though some observers are pretty good at that. Though you have to be cautious with some observers. They may set the time, which I've had this a few times where I go and I check the time and it matches up exactly to what the time is on your watch. And that is only for midnight to midnight observations. If you take your observation at say 7 in the morning and you want to reset this, let's say it's like 1 in the afternoon right now, so about 6 hours ago was your observation time. This is how you'll go about to change the time in there, or set it to the correct time for your observation time. So once to do that, you'll hold down the recall button and switch the memory function to the on until it goes E3. See, it went to E3. So this is saying 5 hours and 11 minutes ago was my observation time. But as I mentioned, it was actually 6 hours ago. It's 1 o'clock or 1300 right now, and my observation time was at 7 in the morning. So I want to set this to 6 hours ago as my observation time. So to do that, the recall button will move the hours. So set that to that. Then the next thing I want to do is to set this to 0. And then I'll go over and set the minutes, because they go by tens and then single digits. So I set it 6 hours ago was my observation time. So I set that and I move it over, and it's all set in there. The memory function will work now. And that function is going to do a 24-hour period from 7 o'clock in the morning to 7 o'clock every day. So the last thing I'm also now going to cover what do you do if you get a L flashing on here. That's indicating the battery is low. Well, in this case, that there is no battery in there. So let's show you how to change that battery. There is a cover on the back. You just kind of lift that up, and you'll notice there's the it takes a 9-volt, and this should be changed out maybe once a year, just like the smoke detectors are. Put that back in, put the cap back on, flip it over, and guess what? The L is gone. So no more flashing L. So that's one indication of that. Some other troubleshooting things you look at is, let's say the display is blank. You see the display is like that. Some of the things you want to check for is make sure the memory switch is not in the on position, which it is. So switch that back off, and you should see something on there. If the display reads numbers much too small, the instrument might have been left on. Let's say if we were in the recall mode, and you had like a low temperature on there, and you happen to leave that on in the memory function, that's another thing. Just always make sure that memory function, once you're done using it, that it's turned back off. Some other troubleshooting things, as if your readings don't change, the instrument is left in the memory mode. Again, another one of those. Readings are always minus 99.9. The probe is disconnected or is an open short somewhere. So you want to check to make sure the probe is plugged in and the cable has not been damaged. Another one is that the readings are always 255.5. Temperature is much too high, or there's a short in the probe or cable. And readings don't agree with the National Weather Service. There's one thing you got to kind of keep an eye on. The opals, DAPMs, you should be quality controlling this data. So if you notice something's not quite right, you may have to further investigate. Temperature readings are erratic. A common cause is from radio frequency energy coupling to the probe. Check to make sure that the cable isn't in the vicinity of a computer or radio equipment. And some places you can't avoid that, so the workaround of that is using an MMTS-1 or MMTS-7. If the batteries are running down quickly, you want to make sure that it's plugged in, the power supply is plugged in, and still it's working. As I said before, if there's an L there flashing, that means your battery is low, or in this case, we didn't have a battery in it. All right, so that concludes my little training on the Nimbus. And thank you for joining me today.